I'm Jen, single mom, artist, and entrepreneur. This is my journey to building life by my design. Come along while Jen juggles it. Hello friends! I wanted to talk to you today about kind of my process in creating my stained glass pieces. Most of my pieces are one-of-a-kind type of pieces. I do build some patterns that I make over and over again just because they're really popular designs and people love them. Most of those are the kinds of things that I put in my Etsy shop. Honeycombs and feathers and rainbows and hearts, things like that. Those are also all my own designs because I don't buy prefab patterns. I prefer to make my own designs. I also like to include non-traditional stained glass elements. So a lot of times I will use agates in some pieces. I'm going to design a piece today with these two agates in it. They have some really beautiful colors and light that come through them. I found this piece of glass at a thrift shop, but I'm going to incorporate it into a piece. Sometimes I'll also use vintage glass plates and things like that I find. Sometimes beveled pieces. This is a star-shaped bevel. I'm not using this one today, but I do have a piece in the future that I'm going to use a couple of these in. Anyway, I also will a lot of times include little glass baubles of various sizes. I have these kind of bigger ones. Whoops, I'm dropping them. And then I also have some much smaller ones. A lot of times these get used for mosaic projects, but I like to, like I said, I like to incorporate all kinds of different things into my designs. Also, the way that sheet glass is made is that the molten glass is poured onto basically a conveyor belt and it's rolled through these giant rollers to make the sheet of glass. And the end pieces often result in these really kind of interesting, wavy pieces at the end. I love to use these in smaller pieces and really capitalize on this kind of irregular, non-conforming piece of the glass. So I'm gonna build a piece for this one today, I believe, as well. So I'm pretty excited. It's gonna be an exciting day. So anyway, we're gonna get started. Today I'm gonna be designing with pencil and paper. When I'm doing really organic shapes, I like to use pencil and paper. But when I'm doing really precise geometric shapes, a lot of times the computer makes the most sense. For instance, I can draw with a pencil and a ruler a perfect octagon, but it's not fast. So a lot of times I'll use the computer because I can pop in, you know, perfect circles and perfect triangles and perfect octagons quickly. So it's really a question of what makes the most sense for what I'm working on in the moment. Sometimes I'll use both. I'll put my precise shapes down on paper on the computer, and then I'll print out what I have, and then I'll add my organic shapes by hand. So it just depends. The tools, they're just tools. They're just tools, and you can use them however you want, and I tend to use them in the way that makes the most sense to me that particular day. So anyway, let's get started. So now you have a really stellar view of my very messy desk in the background there, but that's okay because this is real life and my desk isn't clean. That's just how it is. So anyway, got my coffee suit because that's an important piece here. All right, so I'm gonna start. And by the way, I should have like a giant roll of paper that would make designing stuff way simpler because I could just roll out this giant piece for bigger pieces and cut it off and be done. But I haven't bothered to go buy a giant roll of paper. I just haven't. So instead I have an abundance of this pink colored paper. I don't know where it came from, but it's been in my stash forever and a day. So this is what I've been using to make my patterns on lately. And I just tape them together until I have the size that I want. it works. This is not a precise thing. You know, when we make art, we do it however we feel like in the moment, right? Because it's not precise, and it's not, at least most art, there's some art that is very, very precise, and there are parts of stained glass that are very, very, very precise. But the designing process to me is a very free form, flowy type of thing, and I do that however the hell I want. And you should too. So I'm gonna start by taping these couple of pieces of paper together. And I think I'm gonna start with the piece I wanna design for this. So, yep, totally messy, doesn't matter. I'm gonna give myself a border here. Do it on this side. I haven't decided how tall I want this piece yet. I'm gonna stick with about the same width as this piece that I'm gonna use because, well, otherwise it won't work, because I want this to be the top edge of the piece, and then I'm gonna build everything underneath it. That's just kind of my vision. So this is 6.5 inches wide, so this is gonna be 6.5 inches wide. Gonna be yet, I haven't decided. I'm gonna decide that as I go. But I wanted to give myself the space to be able to do it. So I'm gonna start by tracing the top of this because that just lets me see the final top end of how my piece is gonna go. So the top end is gonna look kind of like that. So I'm gonna kind of mirror this piece here. That's not what I wanted. I hate this eraser. See if I have a better one. I don't at the moment. It's missing, which means a kid swiped it. Probably my son, because he's the one that steals my office supplies with regularity. Love him to death, but my stuff disappears when he's around. It's okay though. That'll do. And then, yeah, I want to keep kind of just mirroring those shapes. I like that. This one I'm going to do a little bit differently. And I think that's as big as we're going to make it. So I think this is going to be my bottom edge. Okay, now something I want to note about this particular design is these singular joints where glass is going to join together are called hinge joints, because if you were to set them up on their side and just hold one piece of the glass, theoretically that joint could bend just like that, right? So this has a structural issue, this design. Now I know that, and I'm gonna fix that. So this piece will have to be framed out in some way. I'm gonna frame it with lead. So it's gonna be framed, this top edge is gonna stay raw. I'm gonna frame these 3 sides with lead, and then my hooks to hang it will be attached into the lead here on the corners. So it will be structurally sound when it's complete, because I'm gonna reinforce it with lead. Structure matters in all art forms. Structure matters in order to keep the integrity of the piece. Stained glass is especially a concern with structure because glass is heavy. Paint by itself isn't that terribly heavy. So while your canvas or whatever you're painting on does have to have some structure, the structure isn't nearly as critical. Whereas with stained glass, glass is heavy, so structure matters, because otherwise the integrity of the piece won't hold up over time. It'll hold it for a while, but it won't stand the test of time unless it is made to be structurally sound. That's probably more than you wanted to know about stained glass, and that's okay. I actually like these lines better. They're a little bit smoother than what I did with my pencil. So there's one pattern. It's made. I'm gonna pick out some glass and then I'm gonna bring it over here and show you what I picked out. Yeah, let's complete the process on this one design. Okay, so these are the glasses that I ultimately ended up choosing. I put them on the light table here so that you can kind of see what they're gonna look like in the sunlight. So this is, let me scooch these around a little so you can see them. So this is the glass that is with that natural roll top that we're gonna use. And it's gonna get cut up there. And then the next layer down is going to be this pink streaky glass, which is also iridescent, although I don't think you can see that real well here. Then below that is going to be this glass here. Ooh, that is really bright. That is difficult for you to see. Let me lift it up a little. So it's blue and red streakies. And then the bottom is going to be this purple and blue. And I'm actually going to use this little section of the glass down here. So I'm going to get that blue along with the purple, but I'm going to maximize that blue that's in this. So I'm going to set this pink glass. Oh, I know why you couldn't see the iridescent on the pink. I was holding it the wrong way. This is the iridescent side. So anyway, the next part of the process would be I'm gonna line my glass piece up here. So you can see in my pattern, once it's lined up, I can see my, sorry, had to take a little pause. The dog was barking at me. She's bored because the kids are gone. So I line up my piece with my pattern and then I'm gonna draw where I'm going to cut following my pattern. Now the accuracy here matters because if I don't draw this piece correctly, if I don't draw the next piece correctly, and I don't cut both of them correctly, then they don't line up. My stained glass doesn't line up right. So this is, I always number my pieces just so that I know which one goes where. This is a simple pattern, so that's not nearly as critical. On more intricate patterns, that really does matter. It doesn't so much on this one. Number 2 is going to be that pink glass. Let me make a little extra room here. This is a giant sheet. So I'm going to decide what part of the glass I want to use. I think I want this little area down here where it's extra flowy and cool. That's where I want to be in my pattern. So just gonna line my piece of glass up with my edge here. Get things where I want them. Okay, now we cut. Okay, so this is glass cutter. Doesn't actually cut the glass, it scores the glass, and then you break the glass on the score line. So I'm not actually cutting the glass, I'm scoring the glass. These are running pliers, and all they do is they run that score you just made down through your glass. And I like to run my score slowly, because it ensures that your glass is going to break where you want it to break. And that, my friends, is very, very important. Straight lines cut way easier. I'm going to put my cutting glove on. I usually only wear the one. They're got this rubbery stuff on, keeps the glass from just getting into my fingers. These are really hard to crack. These are really good. That's a little more. I don't think I'm going to okay. Don't make it first. Okay. I only have these. I should eat first. Yeah, that's inside of my there we go. Beautiful. This all goes in my scrap bin. So here's our pattern. Here's 2, 3, 1, and 4. Now they're not 100% perfect. There are some imperfections in the cutting. So like I need to do a little grinding there. I need to grind a little here. So yeah, it's not 100% perfect, but it's awfully darn close. So I will grind and foil and solder all of these together. I don't know if I'm going to show you all of that process this time around or not. I'll pull my pattern out here so you can see it, because I probably honestly won't even put this together on top. So I need to grind a little here and a little here so that this comes together better. I'm going to mark that. Where's my marker? So I'm going to grind here, and I'm going to grind here, there, just a wee bit here. Okay, but that's going to be ultimately kind of the deal. So anyway, this is designing a pattern. I hope you enjoyed this. I may show the rest of the process in a different video. Actually, I probably will absolutely show the rest of the process in a different video. Thanks for watching for now, and I'll see you soon.